We're now going to be learning synthetic division, which is a shortcut process that can be used only when you're dividing by a divisor that's simple like this. Notice that the x does not have a coefficient and it does not have an exponent. It's just going to be a single x minus some number, so minus c, and that's called synthetic division. So here we have an example. We have polynomial divided by x minus 5. Now the x minus this has a minus in it. So on this problem, if I do x minus 5, that means that c itself is equal to a 5 because there was a minus in this little formula right here. So c is going to be just the 5. So when I put this down, when I begin this, I'm going to put my 5, my c, inside of a box like this. Then I'm going to take the coefficients of my polynomial that I'm going to divide into and write them, just the coefficients I'm going to write here. Again, you want to make sure that you got the x cubed, x squared, x, constant. It's in descending order and it's not missing any terms. So once I decide that, I'm going to write 3, negative 13, negative 4, and 2. So just the coefficients. So what we're doing, we're just using the important parts of our long division here. And then I'm going to leave a space in between, and I'm going to draw a line underneath it because I'm going to be writing in this middle part right there. All right, so to begin, we're going to do the parts of the long division, which are going to be to add and multiply. So we're just going to repeat over and over, add and multiply. We're going to begin by bringing down that first term. So first step is to bring down the 3 and just write it underneath the line. So I'm going to write that. Begin by bringing first term, or I should say coefficient below the line. All right, so that's how we're going to begin. Begin by bringing the first coefficient below the line. Now, once I do that, then I'm going to start repeating. I'm going to multiply the 5 times the 3 and get 15, and I'm going to write it above the line underneath that second coefficient. So I multiplied. I'm going to then add. Then I'm going to multiply and then add, and that kind of repeats over and over again. Multiply, add, multiply, add. All right, so I've multiplied, I got the 15. Now I'm going to add negative 13 plus 15 and get 2. Now I'm going to multiply. I'm multiplying the 5 times 2 and get 10, and I'm going to write it underneath the next term. So write it underneath the negative 4. So I've multiplied. Now I'm going to add negative 4 plus 10 and get 6. Then I'm going to multiply 5 times 6 and get 30 and write that up here. And then I'm going to add and get 32. All right, so notice we have no x's involved in this. But it's always going to fall into the same form. If this has got an x cubed, my answer is going to begin with a degree 1 less. So it's going to be an x squared. So if this is x cubed, this is going to be x squared. If this was x to the 5th, this would be x to the 4th, just 1 less. X to the 10th, this would have been x to the 9th. So 1 less degree right there. So I'm going to write underneath it that I've got 3, and because this was x cubed, this will be x squared, then plus 2x plus 6. This last term is the remainder, always. So this is the remainder, and so when I write my remainder, I'll write plus 32 over x minus 5. Now you'll need to trust me that that works. You can take and do this with long division if you'd like to kind of double check it and see if that it is indeed the answer, but I assure you that it is. Now I know this is kind of a hard concept to get up, but you need to make sure you kind of get that routine down. Multiply, add, and you want to make sure that you practice it today, so that as we go through the next couple of units, sections, you will have it down and it won't be a hindrance to you. I'd like to point out that on page 403 in your textbook, example 8 is another example of synthetic division, and they've done a really nice job of writing notes next to every step that they do. So that might help you out to look at page 403, example 8. So what I'd like for you to do right now is to, let me see what this says. Write the answer as a polynomial, which we did. The degree will be 1 less than the degree of the dividend, which we did. And the last column is the remainder. So now you try this next one and follow it up with this one where it asks you to evaluate p of x, which is equal to x cubed plus 3x minus 2, so the same thing, and find what p of 3 is by substituting 3 in and then simplifying. All right, so we'll pick up on the next video.